Welcome, and thank you for joining us for another deep dive. Today, we are bringing you a story that sits right at this really interesting intersection of cultural heritage, cutthroat industry politics, and, of course, the grandest musical stage on the planet.
Oh, absolutely. It is a massive story.
It really is. We are looking at Italy's freshly crowned representative for the Eurovision Song Contest 2026, which is happening in Vienna. We're talking about Sal Da Vinci.
Right, the veteran artist.
Exactly. He just captured the crown at the 76th Sanremo Music Festival with his winning entry, Per Sempre, which translates to forever.
Yes, a very fitting title, honestly.
Yeah, completely. So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack the absolute spectacle of the 2026 festival, explore the fascinating 50-year career of the man who took the trophy, and examine how a fiercely traditional Neapolitan ballad is currently, shaking up the Eurovision betting odds.
And it is a phenomenal narrative to piece together for you. To do that, we've pulled from a highly varied stack of sources. We are analyzing the official Sanremo 2026 voting breakdowns, the actual results, comprehensive career biographies of the artists involved, and the latest shifts in the Eurovision betting market.
And we didn't just stop there.
No, we didn't. We've even dug into the public forums and the YouTube comment sections to get a real-time read on the cultural conversation surrounding this win.
Okay, let's unpack this, because to truly grasp the weight of Sal Da Vinci's victory, you really have to understand the environment he walked into.
The pressure cooker.
Exactly. The 76th edition of Sanremo, held from February 24th to the 28th at the Teatro Ariston, was an extraordinarily high-stakes event. I mean, you had Carlo Conti returning as artistic director.
Right.
And he brings international powerhouse Laura Pausini on board as the main co-host. And the rotating cast they assembled was it was sweeping in its scope.
Oh, it was wild.
Yeah. Everyone from the actor Ken Yaman to supermodel Irina Shayk and Bianca Bolti, it was heavily designed to be this monumental television event.
It certainly was, but what makes this specific year so compelling is the intense behind-the-scenes legal battle. It actually threatened the very foundation of the festival.
I still can't believe how close they came to losing it.
It was incredibly close. Back in December 2024, a regional administrative court in Liguria, known as the TAR, issued this sweeping ruling against the municipality of Sanremo.
Wow.
Essentially, the court declared that the city could no longer simply hand the broadcasting rights directly to RAI.
They had to open it up.
Exactly. They said they had to open up a competitive public bidding process for the 2026 festival and beyond.
Right, which completely upended decades of established protocol. I mean, RAI was terrified of losing their grip on the broadcast rights.
Naturally.
So they immediately appealed that ruling, taking the stance that the RAI brand and the Sanremo format are entirely inseparable. You literally can't have one without the other.
That was their argument.
But the sources show they actually lost that appeal to the Council of State in May 2025. This wasn't just some, minor bureaucratic hurdle. It was an existential threat to their programming.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you can really see the desperation and the resulting power plays. RAI was so unyielding in their desire to maintain control that they drew a hard line in the sand.
The nuclear option.
Pretty much. By August 2025, they were openly threatening to take the entire festival out of Sanremo altogether.
Which is just crazy.
They floated the idea of relocating the event to Naples or Turin or Milan. It was this high-stakes game of chicken between the broadcaster and the municipality.
Who will blink first?
Right. Ultimately, a new agreement was forged to keep the contest in Sanremo until 2029. But that tension set the tone for the entire production.
The sheer audacity of threatening to uproot a 76-year-old cultural institution is staggering.
Yeah.
You really have to wonder how serious they actually were about relocating.
It's hard to say.
But once the ink was dry and the festival was secured, RAI just went into overdrive to assert their dominance. They launched these sprawling promotional campaigns called Tutti Cantano Sanremo. Everybody sings Sanremo.
Oh, the square performances.
Yes. They dispatched camera crews to public squares across Italy, filming local orchestras playing historic Sanremo hits while everyday people joined in.
It was massive.
It felt less like a standard marketing push and more like RAI flexing its institutional muscle.
Yeah.
just reminding the country who owns this cultural real estate.
Precisely. They leaned heavily into the concept of tradition to validate their position, and you saw that reflected in the interval acts they booked during the competition, too.
Oh, the guest stars were incredible.
They brought Andrea Bocelli back to the stage to perform Il mare calmo della sera, literally the very song he debuted with back in 1994.
Full circle.
Exactly. You had legacy acts like Pooh performing and Max Pezzali broadcasting live from the deck of a cruise ship. The entire framework of the 2026 festival was built on honoring the classic Italian musical lineage.
Which perfectly sets the stage for the competition itself. Over those 5 nights, 30 different artists fought for a spot in the super final.
A very crowded field.
Very. And by the climax of the 5th night, the field was narrowed down to just 5 acts. You had Sal Da Vinci, Safe, Di Nella Piaga, Arisa, and the duo of Fedez and Marco Massini.
A real mix of styles there.
Yeah, and the voting mechanics here are crucial. They're split into 3 factions. There's a press jury with 33% of the power, a radio jury with another 33%, and then the public televote holds the final 34%.
And that specific distribution of power is where the story of the 2026 festival truly lies. If we look strictly at the raw numbers from the public, Safe was the winner.
Really?
Yes. His song, Tu mi piaci tanto, captured 26.41% of the televote. Sal Da Vinci was actually trailing in the public's eyes.
Oh, wow.
He secured 23.56% of the televote. However, the press and radio juries threw their considerable weight entirely behind Sal.
They tipped the scales.
They did. When the scores were aggregated, Sal Da Vinci finished with a combined total of 22.17%, just narrowly edging out Safe's 21.88% to take the crown.
See, I have to ask you about that dynamic. Because if Safe clearly won the public vote, doesn't it create a bit of a disconnect when the press and radio juries effectively override the will of the people?
It's a valid question.
Especially to push a traditional ballad to the top. I mean, does that undermine the spirit of the contest for you?
Well, that is the perennial debate of the jury system. We're just reporting the numbers here, but the standard counter-argument is that juries are installed specifically to prevent the contest from becoming a pure popularity contest based on fleeting trends.
Oh, okay.
The press and radio juries in Italy often view themselves as the guardians of musical quality and cultural representation. In this case, they looked at Sal Da Vinci's entry and saw a piece of art that flawlessly executed a time-honored formula.
They went for the classic.
Exactly. They prioritized classic vocal performance and lyrical tradition over contemporary pop appeal.
And per sempre sì is the very definition of classic tradition. I mean, when you analyze the lyrics, it is an unapologetic, earnest love song, entirely focused on the concept of marriage.
Very traditional.
There's no irony or modern cynicism at all. He sings, "It all began right from the start, when I was just a stranger to you."
Mm-hmm.
And then the song crescendos with this sweeping vow. He says, "With my hand upon my chest, I promise you before God." In a musical landscape that's so dominated by irony and detachment right now, delivering a completely earnest vow of matrimony almost feels like a radical act.
What's fascinating here is the sheer level of craftsmanship behind that earnestness, because this wasn't just thrown together. The songwriting team is a veritable powerhouse of Italian industry heavyweights.
Who was on the team?
Well, you have Federica Abete, who you might recall co-wrote Italy's highly successful 2016 Eurovision entry.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and she's collaborating with Alessandro Lacava, Federico Mercuri, Giordano Cremona, Eugenio Maimone, and Sal himself.
A huge team.
And they made very deliberate artistic choices. Most notably, the way the song seamlessly blends standard Italian with regional Neapolitan dialect.
That bilingual aspect gives it such a distinct flavor. It grounds this universal theme of love in a very specific geographic and cultural identity.
Exactly. And the lyrics refuse to shy away from the permanence of the commitment. The line that truly anchors the entire composition translates to, "Eternity lives inside a single word."
That is beautiful.
They built this intricate, sweeping orchestration around the simplest of concepts, a lifelong promise. It is a masterful execution of classic Italian balladry that knows exactly what it wants to be.
Which brings us to the artist who had to deliver that message convincingly. And here's where it gets really interesting, because the man standing on that stage holding the trophy is not some 20-something pop star having a breakout moment.
Not at all.
Sal Da Vinci is a 56-year-old veteran whose career spans half a century. What catches my eye isn't just the win itself, but the timeline of his life.
It's quite a journey.
He was actually born Salvatore Michael Sorrentino in New York City in 1969.
Right.
simply because his father, the famous Neapolitan singer Marco da Vinci, happened to be touring the United States at the time.
That origin story alone highlights how deeply entrenched he is in the entertainment industry. He was raised in Naples and immersed in the traditional music scene from birth.
It's in his blood.
Completely. The sources point out that he has been performing for paying audiences since he was 6 years old.
6 years old.
Yeah. He made his official debut in 1976. To put that into perspective for you, he has been navigating the shifting tides of the music business for 5 decades.
The longevity is just staggering. And he wasn't just a singer either. He was a multifaceted entertainer. Back in 1986, he took on an acting role alongside the legendary Carlo Verdun in the film Troppo Forte.
A true showman.
But the music is where he truly left his mark. One of the most striking details from the source stack is his victory at the 1994 Festival Italiano.
Oh, the Canale 5 broadcast.
Exactly. It was a television alternative to Sanremo. He won that competition with a song called Vera. And it didn't just perform well domestically, it exploded globally.
It was a massive hit.
It sold over 4 million copies and became huge in South America, where it was covered in Spanish as Vida mi vida.
It is rare for an artist to achieve that level of international penetration early in their career and then manage to sustain relevance decades later.
Very rare.
He returned to the traditional Sanremo stage in 2009, bringing the song Non riesco a farti innamorare to a very respectable third-place finish. But what we need to focus on is his transition into the modern era.
Right.
Because legacy acts often struggle to adapt to the digital landscape. They end up relying purely on nostalgia tours. But Sal Da Vinci did the opposite.
That is the part that fascinates me the most. How does an artist who debuted in 1976 crack the modern streaming algorithms?
It's unprecedented.
It really is. Because in 2024, he released a single called Rossetto e Cafe that independently generated over 74 million streams on Spotify.
74 million.
Yeah, that isn't a nostalgia play. That is genuine, current market resonance. It proved he could capture a modern digital audience, which directly paved the way for him to appear as a guest performer at the 2025 Sanremo Festival alongside the pop group The Colors.
Setting the stage perfectly.
Exactly, setting the stage for his outright victory in 2026.
It demonstrates a remarkable adaptability without compromising his core artistic identity. However, capturing millions of streams and winning over the Sanremo juries does not guarantee universal acclaim.
Oh, definitely not.
When you step onto the Eurovision stage, you are subjecting yourself to a notoriously fractured and highly opinionated global audience.
And we can already see those fractures forming. We've dug into the public forums and comment sections to see how people are reacting to the news that Italy is sending a traditional Neapolitan ballad to Vienna.
The reaction is mixed, to say the least.
The debate is getting pretty heated. Looking at the domestic response, one Italian commenter articulated the frustration of the televoting public perfectly.
What did they say?
They wrote, and we're quoting directly here, I don't know, the song is pleasant, but nothing special. Retro, always old with a marriage theme, and then You and I Forever, Yes, You're Sure, and fairy tales. Predictable with something that musically reminds of other music. I prefer the one from 2009.
That critique encapsulates the friction perfectly. There is a vocal segment of the audience that views this selection as a creative regression.
They want something fresh.
They feel that sending a song reliant on fairy tale romantic tropes is a missed opportunity to showcase the avant-garde, boundary-pushing music currently being produced in Italy.
And that skepticism isn't just domestic. When you look at the international reactions, there is a clear bias from fans of modern pop.
Oh, absolutely.
We found a rather biting critique from a German viewer who wrote, "Off to Italy. I guess anyone can be a successful singer there." And they added a barrage of laughing and eye-rolling emojis to that.
Very harsh.
It feels very dismissive of the genre as a whole. And again, we're not endorsing these comments, we're just reporting the cultural clash happening right now.
Of course. And this raises an important question for you to consider as we approach the contest in Vienna. There is an inherent cultural tension baked into events like Eurovision.
Always.
On one side of the spectrum, you have audiences and delegations who treat the contest as an incubator for experimental pop, electronic music, and highly conceptual stage shows.
The spectacle.
Right. On the other side, you have the enduring power of traditionalism artists who rely entirely on raw vocal talent, classic instrumentation, and universally understood themes of romance.
But looking at the numbers, it seems the experimental pop side is currently winning the argument.
They usually dominate the early odds.
Yeah, when you check the current betting odds for Eurovision 2026, the bookmakers are not showing much faith in old-school romance. Right now, Finland is the heavy favorite to take the trophy.
With a very different type of song.
Completely different. The Finnish act, Linda Lampenius and Pete Barkonen, with their song Liikenheiten, is sitting comfortably with a 26% chance of winning. France is holding the second spot with an 11% probability.
And when you look for Italy on that list, Sal Da Vinci's Per Sempre is currently languishing in ninth place.
Wow.
He's given a mere 2% chance of winning the entire contest. The odds makers clearly believe that a traditional ballad is a significant long shot when placed against the high-energy, contemporary entries from nations like Finland and France.
With odds sitting at just 2%, you have to wonder if the international audience is simply unwilling to buy what he is selling. Does a deeply earnest song about marriage even have the capacity to resonate in a contemporary European pop contest?
It is undoubtedly a steep hill to climb if the goal is strictly to win the jury and public vote in Vienna. However, Sal Da Vinci possesses a structural advantage that drastically alters the pressure of the competition.
The automatic qualification.
Exactly. As the sources remind us, since Italy ended its long hiatus and returned to Eurovision in 2011, it has held the status of a Big Five country.
Right, which fundamentally changes the game. Because Italy holds that Big Five status, Sal bypasses the semifinal bloodbath entirely.
He skips the hardest part.
He doesn't have to worry about a polarizing semifinal performance knocking him out of the competition.
Yeah.
He is guaranteed a direct path to the grand final on Saturday night.
Yep.
Regardless of the betting odds or the online skepticism, he is assured the opportunity to perform his song for an audience of nearly 200 million people.
Exactly. That guaranteed placement allows him to focus entirely on the artistic delivery of his performance rather than the strategy of qualification.
He can just sing.
He can. He's bringing a 50-year career, a flawless vocal technique, and the cultural weight of the Neapolitan tradition directly to the biggest television event in the world.
So what does this all mean? It means that you are witnessing a fascinating collision of eras. You've seen how a 56-year-old veteran navigated a landscape fraught with offstage legal battles that threatened the very existence of the festival.
A true survivor.
You've seen how he bridged the gap between a 1994 television contest and the modern Spotify algorithm. And you have seen how he managed to outmaneuver the public televote by delivering a masterclass in traditional balladry that the juries simply could not ignore.
It's an incredible run.
Whether you are a devoted fan of boundary-reaching pop or a romantic who appreciates the elegance of a classic melody, Sal Da Vinci's unwavering dedication to his craft is just a compelling story.
Before we conclude, I want to leave you with a final piece of historical context drawn from our sources that might reframe how you view those betting odds.
Okay, let's hear it.
If you look closely at Eurovision history, winning the trophy is rarely the only measure of success. Consider the 1958 Italian entry, Domenico Modugno's Simply as Volare.
An absolute global standard.
Precisely. Yet, the sources note that Volare did not win the Eurovision Song Contest that year.
It lost.
It lost. Despite losing the competition, it transcended the event entirely. It remains the most covered Eurovision song in the history of the contest, recorded by icons ranging from David Bowie to Dean Martin to Cliff Richard.
That is amazing.
It became a cultural touchstone.
Right.
I challenge you to ponder this as we look toward Vienna. Will a traditional, unabashedly romantic song like Per Sempre manage to capture hearts beyond the constraints of the voting scoreboard, forging its own enduring legacy regardless of its final placement?
That is a brilliant question to keep in mind as we watch the grand final unfold in Vienna. We want to thank you for taking the time to join us on this deep dive into the resilient career of Sal Da Vinci, the complex mechanics of Sanremo, and the high-stakes road to Eurovision 2026. Keep exploring the music, keep questioning the trends, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.